Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this unique granny square. As you can see, we start with a circle which eventually turns into a granny square. So this is going to prepare us for our next tutorial, which is going to be a matching set of both a skirt and a top. So today we're going to learn how to make this granny square, and you can use this design for any granny square stitch project of your choice. It could be a cardigan, it could be shorts, pants, or whatever you would wish to use it for. So we already have tutorials of different squares or different granny square patterns that you can follow on my page. I'll be leaving all the links in the description box below of the related projects that you can try out using granny square patterns, which include pants, shorts, tops, skirts, and everything else. So I'll be leaving related projects to such a project in the description box below, so don't forget to check them out. All right, so for the project, I will need a 3mm crochet hook. I'll be using a 3mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and yarn. The yarn that I'm using is Robin. It's 100% acrylic, and it's a fingering weight yarn, but you can basically use any yarn of your choice and its recommended hook size to achieve the granny square. So for me, this is what I'm going to be using. And if you can have a look at the granny square, we have a multicolored granny square. So that's what I'll be demonstrating. But you can go ahead and use one color if you wish. So we're going to start off with the very first color, which is the light yellow. All right, to start off, you're going to start off with a magic ring. For magic ring, you're going to put your yarn across your fingers like this. You're going to roll it over like this to create an X. Insert your hook, grab this yarn that's attached to the yarn ball, and then hold. Remove your fingers, and then you're going to make a chain of 1. That chain of 1 doesn't count as anything. You're going to go ahead and make a chain of 3, which will count as our very first double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to go ahead and make another chain, which is the 4th chain. So this counts as 1 double crochet, chain 1. And then you're going to go into the ring with 1 double crochet, just like that. So far we have a total of 2 double crochets separated by a chain 1 space. And then you're going to make a chain of 1 double crochet into the ring. If you feel like the ring is too big, you're going to just pull on the tail so that you can reduce it a bit. So far we have 3 double crochets, because the chain 3 at the beginning counted as a double crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, and each double crochet is separated by a chain 1 space. So we want a total of 8 double crochets. So far we have 3. We are going to go ahead, chain 1, 1 double crochet, that's the 4th, chain 1, 1 double crochet, that will be the 5th, chain 1, 1 double crochet, that is the 6th, chain 1, 1 double crochet, that is the 7th, and then chain 1 and 1 double crochet, and that is the 8th double crochet. So let's cross check. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So once you have your 8 double crochets, you're going to pull on the tail of the magic ring to close up the magic ring, and this is what you'll have. You're going to make a chain of 1 and then count from the base of the chain 4 at the beginning of the row. Count from the base and then go into the 3rd chain. Insert your hook, pull through all. So that is a slip stitch. So this will create our very first round. As you can see, it's a circle, but later on it will turn into this square that we are seeing right here. So we are done with round 1, and this is the very first color. So when you're done with round 1, you're going to make a chain of 1 and grab your scissors, cut your yarn just like this. We're going on to our next color, and that color will be white. You're going to drop your very first color and move on to your next color. So one thing that you have to make sure you do is to use the same exact thickness of colors so that you can have a uniform granny square. So we're going to start off with a slip knot with the second color, and we're going to attach it in the chain 1 space right after the tail of the previous row. So into this chain 1 space there. Just attach your yarn there. And then you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet, plus 1 more double crochet into the same space. So that will give us 2 double crochets, because the chain 3 at the beginning counts as a double crochet. So you're going to make a chain of 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat this all the way around. Chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So one thing that you should note is we are not going into the stitches of the previous round, we're just going into the chain 1 spaces. Chain 1, 2 double crochets into the very last chain 1 space, 1 and 2, and then you're going to make a chain of 1, and then once you place 2 double crochets into the very last chain 1 space, you're going to make a chain of 1 and then go on top of the first chain 3 of the round, and you're going to place a slip stitch. So just insert your hook and pull through all, and this is what you'll have. After this, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, leaving a tail to weave in, just like we did for our previous round. So this marks the end of round 2. So we are going on to round 3, and things are going to change a bit. Round 3 is going to be the blue color. So get your next color. Mine is sky blue. Then you're going to attach it in the chain 1 space right before the tail of at the end of the previous round. So in this space, the chain 1 space before the tail. So for the previous round, we attached our yarn in the chain 1 space after the tail. So for round 3, you attach your yarn in the chain 1 space before the tail. I'll be letting you know why we do this towards the end of the video. So you're going to attach your yarn like this. Then you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet, and go into the same exact chain 1 space with a total of 3 double crochets, just like that. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 1, and we're going to create our very first corner. We are going to turn our circle into a square at this point. So after your chain of 1, you're going to go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. Just like that. So we've created our very first corner of the square. Then you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over the next 2 double crochets, and then into the chain 1 space, you're going to place only 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. After this, you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over the next 2 double crochets, and then into the chain 1 space, you're going to create a corner. And that corner is comprised of 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So at this point, we've created our second corner. As you can see, the sides are becoming flat. And then from here, you're going to make a chain of 1, skip 2 double crochets, into the chain 1 space, you're going to place only 3 double crochets. So you can see how the square is coming to life. From here, you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over 2 stitches, and then into the next chain 1 space, we are going to create a corner. So we are placing 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. All right. So far we have this side, and now we are creating our third side because the fourth side is not yet complete as well. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 1, go into the next chain 1 space after skipping over 2 stitches. Go into the next chain 1 space with only 3 double crochets. Chain 1 into the last chain 1 space after skipping over 2 stitches. The last chain 1 space should get 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. Just like that. So as you can see, we have a mini square. We have this side, this side, this side, and this side is not yet finished. So we shall make a chain of 1 and slip stitch on top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round after skipping over the last 2 double crochets. So you're going to go on top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round and place a slip stitch by pulling through all. Just insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through all. So that's a slip stitch. You're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. Pull through. So this marks the end of round 3. Round 3 changes our circle into a square. And at this point, you can see the circular bit in the middle of the square, but we eventually have a square, not a circular shape. So from here onwards, we are going to maintain this square shape. And at this point, we are here. We are at this level. So we're going to keep building onto our granny square as I'll be explaining. So we're going on to round 4. Round 4 is going to be this beautiful color. It's peach, and it's the one that I'm going to use for round 4. So you're going to start off with a slip knot, and then you're going to attach it into the chain 1 space right before the tail that ended the previous round. So into this. And this is the round that we are going to keep repeating. So just attach your yarn into the chain 1 space. A few things that you have to note are the chain 2 spaces create the corners of the square. And then when you're working along the sides of the square, you only place chain 1 spaces in between the groups of 3 double crochets. So let's go on to round 4 and see how it's worked, because this is the round that we are going to keep repeating again and again until we get the size of the square that we need for our project, whatever you're going to use this square for. So you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet. Go into the same exact chain 1 space with 2 more double crochets, and then that will give us a total of 3 double crochets, since the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. After this, you're going to make a chain of 1, skip over the next 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space. As I had mentioned earlier on, you only place 3 double crochets, and then after that you make a chain of 1, and then into the chain 2 space, or the corner, you're going to go in there with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. In order to maintain the corner, you have to still place a shell, and a shell for this tutorial is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. The shells are only placed in the corners of the square. So once you get done with this, you're going to make a chain of 1, because this is not a corner, and you're going to go into the next chain 1 space with only 3 double crochets, because each chain 1 space gets 3 double crochets. Chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets, chain 1, the next space. Remember, we don't work anything into the stitches, so we just go into the spaces. You just see what space is next. If it's a chain 2 space, it will get a corner or a shell. So this is a chain 2 space, so that means we are placing 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact chain 2 space in order to maintain that corner. So you can see where the corner of the previous row was is exactly where the corner of the next row is. So you maintain those corners in order to maintain the square shape of the granny square. So chain 1, into the chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, because each chain 1 space gets 3 double crochets only. Chain 1, this is a chain 1 space, so it will get 3 double crochets. Chain 1, this is a corner, so it will get a shell, and a shell is 3 double crochets. Chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space in order to maintain the corner. Just like that. And then we are going onto this side. So chain 1, go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and then into the next chain 2 space. The next space is a chain 2 space, which is a corner. It should be creating our very final corner. So you go in there with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space in order to maintain the corner. So after that, you're going to make a chain of 1 and then skip over the next 3 double crochets, and you're going to slip stitch on top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. Pull through all, and then you're going to make a chain of 1, cut your yarn. Okay, so we are done with round 4, and this is the level at which we are at. And yeah, now that means the next color will be blue, then peach, then brown. But I'm not going to demonstrate all that because at this point I have demonstrated the basic construction of the square, and you're going to repeat row 4. Just remember, every chain 1 space gets only 3 double crochets, and each chain 2 space gets a shell, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, in order to maintain the corner. And then no stitch is worked into the stitches. All the stitches are worked into the chain spaces, and you're going to keep working, keep building your granny square. And another thing that you have to note, at round 3, there's only one group of 3 double crochets in between the corners, in between the shells that are placed in the corners of the square. Then round 4, we end up getting 2 groups of 3 double crochets in between the 2 shells at the corners of the square. So you can see this happening here, happening here, happening here, and happening here. So you should be having the same exact number on each side in order to maintain the square shape. So that means for round 5, you will have a total of 3 groups of 3 double crochets in between the corners or the shells that are placed at the corners of the square, because we have 1, 2, and 3 chain 1 spaces. So just keep that in mind and keep working your granny square until it builds up to the size that you want. I had promised to show you how to wind up when you come to the end. Alright, so when you come to the end of your granny square, you should notice that we only worked in one direction. If you're to cross-check your rounds, they all move in that circular motion in one direction for each and every round. And we didn't turn at any one point. All the rows or rounds are facing one direction. I didn't mention of turning your work at all. So this is going to give us tails at the back of our project. So when you flip over your work, you should see something that looks like this. And this is the reason why we kept attaching our new color next to the tail of the previous color. So we're going to go from the center, getting the first color and the second color, the yellow and the white, and we're going to create a knot at the back. So this is going to be the back of our granny square, the wrong side. Then after knotting it, you're going to get your pair of scissors and cut your yarn. Go to the next 2 colors. So just get the tails that are close to each other. So I have this and this, and I'll knot them as well, like that. And then I'll use the same blue with the white because they're close to each other. Once I get done with that, I will just cut my yarn just like that. And then I have blue and peach. You can knot them either twice or 3 times, depends on how well your yarn can hold a knot, like that. And then another blue and peach close to each other. I'm just knotting twice because my yarn can hold a knot of only 2 perfectly well. So when you're done with getting rid of all your loose ends, you can see they're all in one line, and that creates a very neat finish for our granny square. If you want to use your darning needle, you can go ahead and use it, but I don't want to use a darning needle for granny squares because I know very well that the weaving in bit is not going to be as neat as this. So I prefer this method. And then you can go on to your darning needle and just weaving one tail, which is the final tail of the last round. So that's basically it. That's why I was attaching my new color right next to the tail of the previous color. So this is what we have, and that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked it. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you in my next project when we are making an actual piece out of these squares. Thanks for watching. Bye.